Hey yo, I just want to say shout out to my red bike. It got stolen about a year ago, and I think about you every day. But you know, now I got a blue bike, and it's not the same, but it's a new life, a new journey. So rest in pedals, red bike, I love you. I like to bask in the tropics with a flask in my pocket. If you acting no frolic, I'll start laughing and mocking like a charismatic parrot that is a comic. Now I'm feeling like the shit, cause I'm rapping with phonics. Loose off of Jen Ricky's, perusing Sin City, riding my Schwinn smooth like the swing of Ken Griffey. And the felt of the velvet, I said hell with a helmet. I can tell that you're jealous of the smell of the shell.
Alrighty. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Fun times to be had, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News. This is the Snort Report, brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company, as well as the storefront. All of our affiliates and associates. I hope that you guys are having a great new year. Happy New Year to all of you. And let's get started. Let's get this going. Okay, so at this particular point, this is like my first broadcast of the year, but theoretically there should have been 2 videos up so far, possibly even 3. They're kind of like it's me really kind of just having a direct conversation with all of you leading into these. Now I haven't figured out how I'm going to structure those yet, because I've got like 12 or 13 of those things in the clip, but I do have the videos coinciding with all of them too. So I don't know if I'm going to pump out 3 of those shorter ones at a time, and then the coinciding videos with them right afterwards, or maybe I'll do, or broadcast, I should say, to go after those, or short video, then the broadcast to go after it, short video and the broadcast. I'm not sure. Any feedback that you guys want to give is definitely appreciated. But like I said, I'm experiment with it for a couple weeks, and we'll see what's what, and then we'll take in your guys' feedback, and then we'll work something out. But that's essentially what we're going with. And then streaming on the streaming channel will be a thing, but I do want to also get like a broadcast going on over here. I don't know when I'm going to start that yet. Sorry, but I do want that to be a thing. So please believe I'm working on it, because most people know that where I stream at normally or usually, but I would like to go ahead and get that started over here as well. So that's the thing. So big plans. Anywho, you guys ain't here for all that. Let's get into the situation at hand. DSP and PPP, or Triple P as he affectionately likes to call them, are getting ready to get into this whole situation where they're going to start up a wrestling podcast. Yay. So I think it's only fair that we go ahead and speak on that in some way, shape, or form, at least a little bit, even though I've kind of already done that. But I say we should probably speak on that just a bit. And to do that, let's get into one of my favorite segments, and hopefully one of your favorite segments. I hope. Let's see if I actually have the prompt for this, because I actually made sure I did all that before I got started with this. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, by all means, welcome to my TED Talk. So, this wrestling podcast, I've kind of already spoken about this at length to some degree, but Phil needs to take this shit seriously. He needs to, and not seriously like meaningful, fucking intelligent content. No, like, if he really wants to try to show people that he's changed, which he hasn't, if he wants to show people that he's not as uptight or autistic or whatever the fuck like people like me accuse him of being, which he is, he needs to go into this without being him, like the opposite of the shit that he's doing now. On top of that, and for those of you who follow the wrestling community, especially on YouTube, let alone Twitter, let alone Reddit, whatever he's about to do, whatever this thing is, he needs to be on point, because the audience they're not marks. You know what I'm saying? They're not sheeple. They're people who want to be entertained, but hopefully you have a clear understanding of what the product is and how it's being presented. Now, DSP theoretically should fit well into this, because there's so much shit to criticize. There's so much shit you can compare it to other shit that makes it easy to criticize. So he's theoretically in his element. If you sit there and try to come off snarky or any of this extra bullshit, and you literally try to come across like you're just being a mark for yourself, you're going to fail miserably. PPP understands the product. I think he has an understanding of the viewer base He understands the theatrics that goes into this shit. It's a performance, not just by the wrestlers themselves, not just by the commentary, but the people who go over the content. Don't get me wrong, you can be serious about it, you can be this, that, and the third, but it's still meant to be entertaining, even if the content itself isn't. If he doesn't understand that, or if he fails miserably at that, all he's going to end up doing is elevating PPP. Now, ironically enough, this whole nonsense with this podcast bullshit harkens back, and it's really just a carbon copy of what should have happened in 2014. For those of you who know your lore, DSP wanted to, when he moved from Connecticut to Washington, he thought John was just going to be waiting in the wings, and they were going to pick up where they left off when Phil was ready. When Phil was ready, well, life comes at you fast, and John had shit that he had to handle, and he didn't have time to be DSP's lackey, and everything kind of fell apart, which is weird because if you really love the sport, if you really love the entertainment or the product or whatever the fuck, you should have just kept doing it until John came back. But then again, let's jump forward a year. Let's jump forward to, Thanksgiving of 2015, when the John and Howard response comes out, and John says, if you really like the product, or if you really like wrestling, or whatever the case may be, why'd you stop? Why'd you stop watching it? Why'd you need me to show back up and do this content with you, for you to start doing content again? Which completely and utterly proved to John that DSP is a poser. He's a fraud. He'll chase whatever he can for the almighty dollar, which is ironic because that's what DSP accuses other people of doing. And that's that. Now, PPP, I'm pretty confident, realizes DSP is a fraud. The only thing that DSP actually has to his advantage, theoretically, is the fact that he plays a lot of WWE champions. That's the only real saving grace that DSP has. It's the only dog or proverbial pig he has in this fight. Which is funny, because DSP is so desperate to shake that WWE champion stigma off. He says it already is shaken off, but it's not. That's the only thing he has. That's the only thing that links him to WWE champions. I mean, links him to WWE. I'm sorry. So now, the very thing he hates, he might actually have to rely on. It may be the only thing that gives him cred. And for PPP, the opportunist that he is, if anybody tries to call Phil out and say, oh, Phil's not a wrestling fan, he's a poser, he's a fraud, PPP can easily point at him and be like, hey, he's down from the Raptors on fucking WWE champions. Look at his ranking. Look at how long he's been on there. And come to some assumptions on how much money he spends on it. How could he be a fraud? How could he be a poser? How could he be a fake? Isn't that crazy? Now, this is just, this is hypothetical, Pignosis, our favorite game. But that's kind of funny that the very thing he lied about for years, the very thing that had his baby backs on the grill for all these years, the very thing he lied to fucking side scrollers about for 5 fucking hours, may be the very thing that may be his only real saving grace. And there is that Wrestlingaholics podcast that he did with that one guy. I'm going to go over that this year. I didn't get a chance to do it last year, but I'm going to do it this year. And I heard that WWE Champions was spoken about pretty at length over there too. So I'm definitely going to go over that. We'll see what's up. So that's the thing. So with that being said, this just gives you guys a bit of an idea of what I'm thinking about, what we're going into. Now, let me give you guys the news. So we have 3 videos that will make up this particular broadcast, all brought to us by Raw Phil. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and just change this up for a minute. Oh, speaking of which, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Appreciate that. So all of you guys go ahead and take a seat and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? SnortBucks is flowing and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Coffee, cappuccino, boba tea. If you guys want fucking hard snorts and shit, it's 5 p.m. somewhere, right? We can serve that up for you. Take a seat, and then let's go ahead and lay out to you what's getting ready to go on. I have 3 videos that'll make up this broadcast. Snippets, really. Big ups to Diggs, but they were all brought to us by Raw Phil. Big ups to Raw Phil. And the 3 segments come from the streams from January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I believe he's off on the 4th, so anything that happens on the 5th, the 6th, and then the actual podcast with him and PPP is on the 7th. I will eventually have something that will follow that up. Give me time. You know what I'm saying? Let me work. Please let me work. and that basically makes up our situation. I will do this all in order, so we'll be starting with January 1st. Place your orders and whatnot, and that'll be a thing. Speaking of which, No. Actually, let me wait. I'll announce that later. But for those of you who have clever names for different types of SnortBucks or Hard Snorts products, well, drinks in particular, keep those in the clip, because I will like you guys to start shooting those out eventually. I'll let you guys know when, and I'm gonna have something made up for that, and we'll add it to the ever-growing menu. So that's a thing. Keep that in mind. Anywho, let's go ahead and get the situation going. I'll smell no bacon cooking. And, it's the beginning of the year. It's 2025. So, you know what I'm saying? Got to start off right. Let's go ahead and get into it.
When will they be live streamed? Well, I was thinking of doing it probably smack dab in the middle of next week. But something else has happened. Not aware. Monday Night Raw.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with, yet again, Raw Phil. This is a segment from the Bottom Bitch podcast from January 1st of 2025. The stream itself is probably gone, but I will link Raw Phil's channel down in the description. Matter of fact, I'll talk to my editor about it, because maybe we can just link his BitChute, actually, if anybody ever needs to go to it, because I think that's where most people get his archives from anyway, if you guys aren't saving the URL. So I'll speak to my editor. We'll see what we can do about that shit. We'll see if we can work that out. All right, here we go.
When will they be live streamed? Well, I was thinking of doing it probably smack dab in the middle of next week. But something else has happened. Not aware. Monday Night Raw, the WWE wrestling show, is moving to Netflix next Monday, January 6th. It's their big premiere show. It's the one everyone will be watching and talking about. They're moving to this new company, and the production values are going to change and all kinds of big things shuffling up. If you're not aware, I've been in discussions with Ashton from Kino Casino about doing a pro wrestling commentary show, okay? We are now talking about it actively, and we are likely...
Keep in mind, he's been harassing Triple P, as he affectionately likes to call him, probably since, September or October of 2024. So this has been going on for a minute, to be honest. And yet again, given the self-inflicted wounds, I guess you could say, that's been going on over there with Kino Casino as of late, the pedophiles being exposed and all that bullshit and all the other nonsense with the CP allegations, and good God, it's ugly over there. This might be a nice reprieve for PPP while he figures out what the hell Andy's going to do, because there's talks of, besides the CP shit, whether Andy is relapsed or whatnot, and it's a mess over there. So this may very well be a breath of fresh air, so to speak, for PPP. And yet again, this is really only for PPP's amusement, because you'll find out later on in this broadcast that other than PPP showing up, he has no stakes in any of this shit. He's going to come in, talk some wrestling, clown the fuck out of DSP, and then he gets to leave. All the money, all the proceeds that any of this drums up will go to DSP directly. PPP doesn't want any of that, at least for right now. But there was some banter, if you will, about sponsorships later on down the line, which, if you do watch certain wrestling programs, Steven Larson, JD from NY, obviously Jim Cornette, keeping it 100. I don't even need to flex all my shit. All I'm saying is that if you keep up with certain wrestling podcasts around here, there's sponsorships out there. So it's not something that can't happen. The question is, can PPP link to Kino? Can he get sponsorship? He can, but he talked real good, so he could sell the product. But can DSP? Can he actually get sponsorship being linked to Darksydephil? That's the crazy shit. But if I remember, we'll talk about that as we move along. Here we go.
Going to start doing this show probably next week. If we're going to do it, it makes sense to time it with the launch, or I should say relaunch, of Monday Night Raw on Monday. So I'm talking with him right now. And
actually, it probably would have worked out a little bit better for you guys if you guys had a test run, a pre-show, if you will, where you guys have a stream together where you guys talk about your experiences with wrestling itself and why you guys were wanting to do the show and what keeps you interested in the product. That would have allowed people to build a connection with you and what you were trying to build instead of trying to shoehorn it into, oh, this thing is new, so we're going to do it because it's new. I don't think so. Not everybody's sheeple like that, but get it how you get it.
We're going to work out details of how it's going to work. And within the next few days, I should be able to let you know when it's going to happen. Really.
And that's another thing, too, that I really need to point out. Because PPP and now DSP are kind of in bed with each other. I'm hoping PPP actually speaks on this sooner than later. But I assume that the harassment campaign on Discord and in those Twitter DMs are going to get fucking wild. It's not going to take long for DSP to pour his guts out the fucking PPP once this shit gets established. Even if it doesn't do well, you know what I'm saying? Even if the show falters, like, DSP needs and obviously yearns for companionship, real companionship, someone he can actually talk to, that he respects, that he looks up to, even if he begrudgingly respects somebody. So I could only imagine what PPP is going to have to deal with the trauma dumping and all this bullshit that comes around later on down the line. Because now, hey, we got a show together. Now we have to be in constant contact, dude, about the product and what's going on and what we're going to talk about the following week. Oh my God, the harassment's going to be horrible. The harassment's going to be horrible. Now keep in mind, DSP has a wife. Allegedly. He doesn't have a wife. She's a fucking roommate. That's the reason why he trauma dumps on fucking basically perfect fucking strangers and shit. You know what I mean? It's the reason why he acts the way he acts. If he had a real relationship, he was really as happy, and if it was really as fulfilling as he says it is, he wouldn't act the way he acts on a daily basis. Semantics, though. Semantics.
It's not what we're going to do during the show that's in question. It's this simple. We're going to be commenting on everything that happens on Monday Night Raw and any kind of pay-per-view events that happen. So I guess I'm going to be getting Netflix, and I guess it's Peacock where the pay-per-view events are going to happen. They're not even pay-per-views, right?
Well, first off, how are you going to pull that off? You're going to only talk about what's going on Monday Night Raw and then the pay-per-views. What about SmackDown? NXT, you could kind of excuse some of that. But what about SmackDown? You can't necessarily, I mean, whatever. That seems kind of weird to me. Because a lot of those storylines and shit kind of bleed together. So that seems kind of strange, but whatever.
What do they call them now? There's a word for them now, right? They're not even pay-per-views. I forget what they're called. So
it'd have been hella funny if DSP was like, do they still have in your houses? If he had said that shit, I lost my shit. That should have been hilarious, bro. That should have been hilarious. Oh, big ups to Dwight, by the way, man. I need to holler at you. I need to reach out to you and shit. But big ups to Dwight.
I think we're going to be covering those probably once a week. You know, it really depends on our schedules, too. I got to talk to them about it. So it's not the show that's in question. It's how to do it. Like, for example, here's some of the questions to ask, right? So do we live stream it only on Kick? Or do we co-live stream it on Kick and on YouTube? Where do we stream it?
Now, that's actually a fair point. Because initially when he said, should we co-live stream it? It made me think initially, and that might be because I'm an idiot, but it made me think, okay, DSP is going to, live stream it on YouTube, and then PPP would live stream it on Kino Casino. That's what initially that I thought what was going to happen. I thought that would be the thing, because he said we're going to co-stream. That's what co-oping is, theoretically, But he really should have said, are we going to multi-stream it on two different platforms? Or I'm going to multi-stream it on my two platforms, respectively. Something along those lines. I don't know. I felt like if he had articulated that a little bit better. I mean, not that it was anything to really be confusing about, or be confused about, I should say, because I just nitpick. You guys know me. So, but I wish he would have had a bit more clarification on that than saying it the way he said it.
Do we stream it on his channel? Do we stream it on my channel? Do we stream it on a combination of channels? Do we leave it on demand after the fact? Or do we just have it as an archive somewhere like you do on Kick? You just leave your archive for a week. Do we clip the show and put clips somewhere? When we broadcast it, how does it work? Obviously we're going through Discord, right? But I got to figure out the logistics of how to make that happen. Remember, I bought a second webcam, and I should be able to have two webcams here. One would be a camera for my streaming setup, and the other would be the camera that whoever's on Discord can see me on. And this way there's...
But that wouldn't even matter. What the fuck? That doesn't even mean anything. That legitimately doesn't mean anything at all. Like, first off, if you're doing it all off Discord, which is cool, You could literally put up whatever fucking background you want. They don't. The person who's watching you on that you're talking to on Discord doesn't need to see you. That sounds like some weirdo shit. That sounds like some cam girl type shit. Was that what you were gonna do? You're gonna have your little private show for fucking PPP? Are you fucking serious? He literally could just go ahead and put on your stream and mute that, and he could see exactly what you're doing, plus or minus a delay. That seems kind of weird. Two, since we have a separate camera, Phil, why don't we have a Jasper cam? You know what I'm saying? And keep in mind, when Phil was talking about Jasper cam back in the day, he was only talking about that because Almighty Tevin, big ups, and praise be, and LSB, big ups, used to have the hamster. No, they're not hamsters, they're guinea pigs. I'm sorry, because Tevin's really sensitive about that part. Tevin used to have a camera for his guinea pigs and whatnot, and then LSB used to have one for for his dog. What is his dog's name though? Oh shit, I have not seen little guy in a, well, he's not little now, he's probably a big good sized dog now, but I can't think of what his name is. He'll come back to me. But LSB used to have kind of had a camera for his own dog and shit. Especially when he used to tear those new toys up. That shit used to kill me. That used to kill me. All right, I'm gonna derail for a minute. But LSB would buy his dog. I feel like it starts with a B. I feel like that dog's name starts with a B. Anyway, he used to buy his dog a new toy, and he would show it off in the beginning of the stream, and he would give it to him. And I would like step away to get like a drink or something, or I would have the stream playing in the background while I was doing something else or whatever. And I feel like an hour into that shit, it doesn't start with a B. It starts with an R. His name is Rocky. Don't ever say I'm not a fan. Even though I never really talked to that dude. Don't ever say that I wasn't a fan. Rocky, that's his name. He would give the toy to Rocky, and Rocky would have a good old time with it. I would turn around to go ahead and do something else, play Call of Duty, doing some work on my computer or whatever. I turn back around, and that toy is destroyed. And Rocky looking up at him like, okay, where's my next one? You better go ahead and get some donation money and get me another one before you lose something important. That shit used to be hilarious. I'm pretty sure his name was Rocky. Big ups. But yeah, that shit was fucking hilarious. Anyway, that shit was really popular between LSP and Tevin. Like, you know what I'm saying? People like used to like the Rocky cam and also like the guinea pig cam. And so DSP, one of DSP's fucking dents, was like, you should get one too because the detractors have it. And he's like, oh, well, I would if I could, figure out how to get another camera and set it up and this, that, and the third, yada, yada, yada. Here's the point. So you're willing to put on a webcam show for fucking a personal webcam show for PPP, but no one can get no one can get a Jasper cam? For shame. For shame. And then if you were like, oh, well, how would he do that? Set up the second chair that fucking Cat should be sitting her ass in and let Jasper sit on that shit. Fuck it. Fuck it. It doesn't even have to be on the same side of the room. Position the webcam on another part of the room where Jasper is known to lay down at. And just let him lay down in the chair, chill in the chair and shit. Whatever. I don't need to be giving this idiot any ideas, but I thought that shit was fucking funny. You want to have a personal little webcam show for fucking PPP. Jesus Christ.
No conflict, and it would be high quality for both ends. So we have all these things to figure out within a relatively short period of time, because if Monday Night Raw is on Monday, people are obviously going to want this show quick after it. You're not going to want to have to wait 2 weeks to see our first show about that. You're going to want to see it relatively soon, right after the launch of Raw. So we're talking about it right now, and I will let you know when we have figured stuff out, okay? So if you like pro wrestling, and I have been out of the loop of pro wrestling since 2020, so 4 years.
Yet you bitch and complain at people when they drop the results of the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, or any other major event that happens on SmackDown or Raw, respectfully. Even NXT, people used to talk about that in his chat, and he used to get butthurt about it, which is weird because he had admitted multiple times he didn't watch the product. See, there's a problem with that, though, ladies and gentlemen. There's a problem with that. Because DSP has admitted multiple times that, oh, well, I don't watch the product, but I do watch the clips and stuff on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck. And there's plenty of channels out there that you can catch the results. You don't even need to go to you can go to the dirt sheets if you want to. I do. But you can actually see like what happened at the end of a match and so on and so forth. Like people edit those things up pretty good. And he's admitted to watching a lot of those things. So what's he going to say about that then? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you may not be sitting down, or he may not be sitting down watching the product from beginning to end, but he certainly is watching the matches. But semantics, let me hold on to that. We'll get further into that as this goes along.
I have not been paying attention to pro wrestling. For the first time in 4 freaking years, I'm actually going to start paying attention to it again and giving you my honest opinions about it.
And you don't think that sounds weird that you want to start a wrestling podcast and you haven't been engaged with the product in 4 years? Don't you see where John was coming from, where he was like, okay, you moved and you said that you want to pick up the wrestling podcast from where we left off, or the wrestling show, whatever, smart guys. But you're not even watching the product currently. Like, what the fuck are you really going to add? And that's the thing. Like, PPP is going to have to carry this piece of shit, kicking and screaming. There are, like, you got to understand, when you look at the storylines, when you look at the product, when you look at the evolution, or de-evolution, if you will, of the wrestlers, of the brand, of this, that, and the third, you having a couple of years context would kind of help you. You know what I'm saying? It would kind of mean something, if you will. Yeah, you can jump into this shit butt naked and just, you know, and get in and swim. But it would be kind of helpful if you had a little bit of context of what's going on. And given the day and age we live in, it's not really hard to figure out how the product is presented, how it works, the behind the scenes drama and all that bullshit. Now, because DSP is a mark, not just for himself, but for everything else, he's just going to be a drone and just take it at face value and not want to actually engage unless PPP pushes it. And any of the backstage stuff, any of the ongoing dramas, why the storylines are formatted the way they are, and so on and so forth. He's not going to do any of that. So you got to keep that in mind too. I'm very, very interested on how PPP is going to carry this piece of shit kicking and screaming through all this bullshit.
Okay, now, I don't know how it's going to go. Now, here's what I mean by that. I have no concept how many people are going to show up, how many people are going to watch, how many people are going to support. No idea. So
you're concerned about who's going to stream it, who's going to get all the clout, who's going to get all the money, and yet we still haven't actually watched the product. I love how we're full steam ahead on how we're going to monetize it and who's going to get all of the fucking clout and praise from it, even though we haven't even watched the product yet. Not enough to get some real context, I should say. Oh man, that's so good. Literally, the Phil Burnell School of Business and Content Creation and Streaming at its best. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
This could be a show that does really well because people want to hear our opinions on wrestling. This could also be a show that completely tanks and no one cares about. I would hope it's the former and not the latter. But you don't know till you try something new.
Well, why would you bring the latter up anyway? You should be just pushing full steam ahead and just see what happens. Matter of fact, how is even succeeding and failing even a factor in this equation just yet? You haven't even started. You know what I'm saying? Like, most wrestling, like, I'll give this to you from JD from NY's, from me watching him. Okay, when I initially was introduced to JD from NY, it was through 402 Thunder. This gives you an idea of how much of a fan I am. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that goes back to, like, Black Ops 2. Gives you an idea of how long I've been watching. And that's, you know what I'm saying, fucking Hellstorm Missile, a.k.a. Jackpot motherfuckers, for all y'all who know. JD has always been a wrestling fan because he's from New York. Or he still is. He still lives up there, I believe. Anyway, he's from New York. And he's always been a wrestling fan. And occasionally he would mention it in his Call of Duty content or whatever. As Black Ops 2 was wrapping up and we were getting into Ghost, which Ghost is fucking terrible, by the way. I have more of an appreciation for Ghost now. Call of Duty Ghost. But back then I did what most of my friends did and just kept playing Black Ops 2 for a number of years. And I don't regret not a second of it. Anyway, as Black Ops 2 was wrapping up, he still kept playing. Even when Ghost was introduced, I want to say he played all the way up till Advanced Warfare, but don't quote me on that part. Anyway, he also wanted to make this push into his wrestling content. He really, really wanted to. And he tried multiple times in multiple ways with different hosts. And, he would get a buzz, things would work out, then partnerships split apart, and this, that, and the third. And it was a number of years before he was like, you know, fuck this. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to do it the way I want. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. And he stayed with it and he committed with it. And it was a number of years even after that before shit, which is off the record, really started to pick up steam. You know what I'm saying? It took a while for him to get to where he's at now. It took a very long time. I don't even think I'm sure he still games. He just doesn't game on his channel anymore. It's strictly wrestling now. And he covers pretty much everything, or at least everything that means something. It took a long time to get there. And he never gave up on it. And he never felt like I won't say that. There was times where he definitely felt low. But he never felt like he failed. You just got to keep chugging at it. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep molding as with the environment. Because I can tell you for sure, because I'm a drama hound for that shit. He got into a lot of beefs with a lot of people, other content creators, especially over the years. Interesting shit. Most of that shit got smoothed out now, or they just agreed to disagree. But trust me, JD's been through the trenches and shit, and he came out the other side. Here's my point, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know until you try, and once you try, it's going to be a while till you actually get to where you feel that you need to be. Not where you want to be per se, but where you need to be. But because DSP is all about instant gratification, it's one of the reasons why he fails the way he fails. It's the reason why we wage quit all of a sudden. It's funny how only a few years ago, he used to say, oh, I don't wage quit. That's something that Detractor's made up. He does it on the regular now. And from what I'm hearing, he's actually admitting to doing it. So that's a thing, I guess. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then look at Review Tech USA. If you guys followed him on his main channel, oh, I'm sorry. That doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, if you used to follow Rich on his main channel when it did exist, this idiot changed his format multiple times. The reason why and none of them ever succeeded or actually did anything is he didn't give it a chance to. He didn't let it breathe. He'd have a couple of videos that hit 100,000, and the moment it did, oh, I got to change the setup. I got to change the format. I got to do... Bitch! You know what I'm saying? Like, you just started, and you're already quitting? And it speaks to not just to the content creator, to the content that the content creator creates, if you want to call it creating, of course, but it speaks to the character of that person. It speaks to that character. If you're someone who feels the need to switch every little thing that you just started, it shows that you have a problem with committing. If that's the case, you'll never get anybody to ever really commit to you. Something you should think about.
Right? And I mean, it's 2025. Let's try some new stuff. Okay, so likely next week, the premiere of our wrestling commentary show, me and Ashton working together. It's going to be exciting, but I don't have details yet. We are going to work on these and talk them out, and I will let you know once we figure them out, probably over the next several days, and then we can start to get hyped for it. You know, I would say it would be as early as Tuesday the 7th, but I don't want to promise Tuesday the 7th because we don't have stuff worked out yet. So let us talk, figure it out, and then I'll get back to you. Okay? Cool. All right. So, there you go. I mean, how exciting. Already the year is beginning, and we've got the year-end series right around the corner, and we've got a pro wrestling show that's about to launch. Pretty exciting, huh? But there's something else exciting happening, too. If you haven't even taken a look yet down here, because I haven't even talked about this yet, and you might say, wait, we're 22 minutes into a podcast, and Phil didn't talk about money? Yeah, because I actually don't just sit here and talk about money all day, despite the fact that a lot of idiots say that. As you might say, like, wait a minute, what does that say? 39? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was one of my best streaming days. Very long time. Last night during the Street Fighter 6 stream, we raised 4.
Shut your ass up. I need to actually go back. Sorry, I had to step away for a minute. It was it's off the script, not off the record, by the way. That's something else in particular. So my fault. Let's see. Here, let me go back a bit. I ain't completely missed that shit. Let's start here, I guess. We'll go from there. But yeah, but JD from NY's, the brand of basically what it shows is off the script. Sorry, not off the record. All right, let's see where we're at here.
Because I actually don't just sit here and talk about money all day.
That's a goddamn lie, but all right, now let me definitely bring that back. No one's gonna ever believe that. DSP doesn't beg for money every day? All day? Imagine that.
Probably over the next several days, and then we can start to get hyped for it. You know, I would say it would be as early as Tuesday the 7th, but I don't want to promise Tuesday the 7th because we don't have stuff worked out yet. So let us talk.
Which is weird because you've been talking to him about this for months. So, and it wasn't like it was just announced that Raw was going to be on fucking Netflix. So, yet again, DSP living up to another trope that he's known for, waiting to the last goddamn minute. So what the fuck have you been harassing PPP about over the last few months? Makes you think.
Talk, figure it out, and then I'll get back to you. Okay? Cool. All right. So, there you go. I mean, how exciting. Already the year is beginning, and we've got the year-end series right around the corner, and we've got a pro wrestling show that's about to launch. Pretty exciting, huh? But there's something else exciting happening, too. If you haven't even taken a look yet down here, because I haven't even talked about this yet, and you might say, wait, we're 22 minutes into a podcast, and Phil didn't talk about money? Yeah, because I actually don't just sit here and talk about money all day, despite the fact that a lot of...
But you're literally getting ready to do that now. So you're going to basically declare that I don't beg for money all day like people say I do while getting ready to go into a begging segment? All right, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Interesting way of trying to prove a point.
Idiots say that. As you might say, you're like, wait a minute. Wait, what does that say? 39? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was one of my best streaming days. Very long time. Last night during the Street Fighter 6 stream, we raised 4 goals in one stream.
Was that Iron Chef Sakai fucking cucking out and shit? That's actually another thing too. So let me get this straight. You get heated over DSP making light of the bathtub Raw situation during the Mr. Medicare reaction, which was a dumb thing in its own right for a multitude of reasons. One, the documentary's garbage because it's very obvious that fucking what's his name? June the King rushed that shit. Like, there is so much more to Medicare's history. He didn't even scrape the surface. Like, Jesus Christ. Didn't do anything really. Like, it was at this point, I would have rather him just release the interview with Medicare and just been done with it. Because the documentary just didn't do anything. It didn't say anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? You really spoke on nothing, to be honest with you. Because anybody who's an avid Medicare fan knows that shit. And anybody else who's trying to get into Medicare, there are better places to go to get that. So I don't even understand why June did it. I don't know if he was just trying to get, like, his end of the year money or what. I don't know. But sad display. That's another L. You can chalk that up with that fucking Review Tech USA one. Both just absolute trash. It's fucking goddamn shame. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the fact that the fact that DSP decided to react to a documentary about Medicare, and this idiot had no clue that nothing in there really associated him with Medicare in the documentary was a waste of his goddamn time. So DSP ain't fucked up there. So now June's fucked up, and now fucking DSP's fucked up. And then Iron Chef Sakai, who's the biggest fuck up out of the three, you sit there and you get mad over the fucking bathtub Ross thing. I can understand that, especially if you weren't around when that shit was going on. I get it. You don't want to hear that bullshit. You make a big stink about it, and then you leave. You go over to your own stream, make a big fuss about it, then you go over there and align yourself with whoever the fuck. Well, over there for, what, a week? 10 days? Whatever the fuck it was? And then you crawl back to fucking Phil and give him even more money? And then your whole spiel for allegedly, his whole spiel for being over there with DSP and giving him money in the first place is he was supposedly running an op to try to get into DSP's Discord? You've given that guy, what, thousands of dollars to get into a fucking dusty-ass Discord to prove what? Oh, man. All right, whatever. Well, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to be fucking trying to make sense of what a dent does. I mean, fucking A. But whatever. Let's move on. And make that make sense. By all means, anybody who wants to, make that make sense.
And that was gifted memberships, gifted subs, and tips. It was all three things together. So people on the YouTube side got a bunch of memberships. People on the Kick side got a bunch of subs. So you might have gotten a notification this morning, you got a gifted membership or sub. You're like, whoa, what? People were actually like typing it in my comments. Wow, it's been months. And all of a sudden I got a gifted membership last night. Thanks so much. Yeah, as you know, I did kind of have a big downgrade, sadly, when it comes to the amount of members and subs and things that I've had. And last night, boom, giant amounts of generosity and gifting. So a ton of people got new gifted memberships or subs. So,
Well, that's weird because didn't you say, like, right before Kino Casino popped up, be honest with you, weren't you saying that you did have an active community and you don't depend on gifted subs or member? Well, there wasn't really gifted subs yet. You know what I mean? Like gifted memberships on YouTube. That your community doesn't actually depend on gifted subs or memberships, whatever the fuck. That everybody does, or everybody contributes just a little bit, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? You do have a real community and it's not dependent on such and such actions of like 3, 4, 5 whales. Wasn't that the whole fucking stick that he was giving all of us back in the day? Like, not even back in the day, but just middle of 2024? And now look, literally admitted, yeah, I haven't had any contributions of any type of sort, or most of you haven't had gifted memberships for months, according to him. For months, and now all of a sudden they all came back, which is him admitting a couple of things. One, all the generosity and support really came from Kino Casino and their audience for the most part. Two, he's admitting that he ain't fucked all that up. These guys served him their own paid pigs and whales on a silver platter, and he couldn't even hold on to them for more than a month. Because if supposedly people haven't gotten gifted subs or memberships for months, then DSP couldn't even hold on to them for a month or so. On top of that, he's basically proving that his own audience is completely tapped out or they're non-existent. The people who are saying, oh, well, I haven't had a membership for months, they probably haven't been around for months. Jesus Christ, bro. It's dead over there. Literally dead over there. And the thing is DSP don't care. He wants to present himself as he has this active, robust, engaging, and healthy audience and healthy growth amongst his content and amongst the people in his community. In reality, most of those subs, I would say easily half the subs that are given, probably more than that to be honest, go unclaimed anyway. And that don't matter because he's going to get his money regardless, just like on Twitch. It was exactly like how it is on Twitch. It's the same thing on Kick. No matter where he goes, whoever's gifting whatever, there's never going to be enough people to claim those things. Because there's just nobody around. Why would you want to waste your time doing that when you could go to a reactor and actually having an engaging experience and shit, instead of sitting in this guy's fucking slop post and getting nothing out of it and getting regulated to the fucking 5th degree for nothing. Remember, there was a time where you could get banned for talking about wrestling in his chat. Now he wants to engage in wrestling talk. That's weird because during the fucking WWE Champions arc, for however short that was, that right there should have engaged some real wrestling content and real wrestling engagement. He should have been using the WWE Champions arc to push into this wrestling podcast thing, but he didn't do it because he's stupid. And all he wanted to do was fucking get his dopamine fix from his addiction. Didn't even give a fuck about the audience as a whole. All the steps and all the opportunities, let's take that back. Let's remix that. All of the opportunities given for this to start off somewhat successful, he squandered because he only cared about himself and nothing else. Which yet again reinforces what I'm saying about PPP is going to have to carry the load. There's no other two ways about it. Literally, PPP and fucking Kino Casino literally has to carry the fucking load and shit. And DSP is going to sit back like the proverbial king on the throne and shit and is just going to expect to be carried along. His inexperience with the product over the last 4 years basically initiates that. It makes it a foregone conclusion. No matter what DSP says over the next month, couple months, even a year, and it's not going to go that long, I don't think, but you know what I mean? Just putting it out there. It'll never equate to that of a real fan. It'll just never work. So unless this dude really commits to this shit, which he's not, it's because he's always going to fall back on, I'm a gamer, dude. I can't spend weeks upon weeks talking about wrestling, or I can't spend all of my days talking about wrestling. I don't have any time. Even though you seem to find time for PPP and Kino Casino, even though we can't seem to find time for our wife or our cat son, whatever. I mean, what does he really expect for to come out of this? Especially in a niche market that's rabid. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not just YouTube. It's not just Twitch. It's not just Reddit. It's not just Twitter/X. Like, you know what I'm saying? You fuck around and you find out. On top of the fact, if any of you guys have gone to any of the wrestling forums, they play no games over there. They play no games over there. And DSP's name, I'm not even going to say the forum. You can go and look. You go fuck around and look. Fuck around and look. You know what I'm saying? But there's some wrestling forums out there that are salivating at the goddamn mouth for DSP to go ahead and fuck around and find out. It should be funny. Now, it's probably not going to get big right away. It'll probably take a while before it gets to them. But you never know. you never know. There may be a good Samaritan that might go ahead and drop some of their videos, or at least some links to this wrestling podcast on some of those places on X or on some of these other platforms, and it'll be funny to see what the repercussions are. Because PPP ain't going to get shit for it. You know what I'm saying? Theoretically, if PPP is funny and somewhat competent, he's going to come out of that shit smelling like roses. DSP, as usual, is going to eat the shit, which is what we all expect anyway.
Enjoy them if you got them. Now, because we hit 4 goals, ladies and gentlemen, we're at 39. You realize we're only 1 goal away from locking in to a new DSP Tries It. So what is the DSP Tries It? I revealed this to you a couple days ago.
Yeah, I don't care about that. He figured out another way to try to convince people to pay for fucking DoorDash a second time in a week. Gotcha. That's good for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to January 2nd of 2025. Yet again, talking about this WWE or wrestling podcast, I should say. No, I'm right, because it is basically a WWE podcast, because they're not talking about anything else, at least not at the moment.
Wait,
what did he say?
That's
kind of funny. Sorry. Here we go.
In addition to all of that, we've got the new wrestling commentary show in the works. I'm talking right now with Ashton, and we're planning it out. We're going back and forth with ideas on how to make it work. And likely, if we get everything to work quickly, the first episode will be this Tuesday night. And I'm thinking it's going to be the late night stream. I got to confirm that with him, so I don't want to promise you yet. But it looks like it's probably going to be Tuesday night, our very first ever wrestling commentary show, where I'm probably going to get Netflix and I'm going to watch Monday Night Raw, take notes about the show. And we're going to do basically a late night stream talking all about Raw and wrestling and all of that. For me, it's going to be wild.
It's the second. It's the second, and we still don't have Netflix locked in yet. That's amazing. Literally the king of last minute. It's the second. It premieres on the 6th, and we still haven't got that shit set up yet. Amazing.
I have not watched pro wrestling since 2020. The last match of wrestling that I watched was Drew McIntyre beating Brock Lesnar for the title at the WrestleMania during COVID, where they were in the Thunderdome or whatever they called it, and there was no crowd. That's the last wrestling match I've actually seen.
I mean, it was during COVID. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes sense. I mean, they shouldn't have gotten that arena given what the situation was, but that show was booked so far in advance. It was booked so far in advance that everybody was going to lose money on it if it didn't happen.
So now, to be jumping into this like 4 to 5 years later and trying to see what's happened with pro wrestling, where it's gone. And, you know, I've heard that WWE is actually way different, that they've transformed the product, and now a lot of people like it again, when a lot of the times, you know, back then people were more burned out on it, that a lot of people have come back to it and really like it.
Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. One, NXT completely dropped the ball. I got to tell you this right now, to be honest. I was going to wait until I got a chance to talk to, like, Proper or Dwight about this shit. But as far as I see it, Triple H is just sending his the wrestlers that he's not using, or talent, or whatever you want to call them. He's sending them over to NXT so they can get a big paycheck, get their names hot, and then he'll just take them back later when their contracts run out. That's literally what it looks like, to be honest. He's sending plants over to that bitch to starve that fucking company the fuck out, and then afterwards they get sent back. It was basically what fucking Vince was doing with WCW. You know what I'm saying? Vince would go ahead and have the Outsiders or Hall and Nash or, you know, let's say Razor Ramon and Diesel. He would have all them dudes go over there to fucking WCW, get that big payday, get that money, drain Ted Turner's fucking resources and shit, and then he could just bring them back later on. You know what I'm saying? After the fact. It's a really great way of fucking getting rid of your competition. I mean, something like that was done in the territory days too, back in the day as well. But that's really all it sounds like Triple H has done, to be honest. And because Tony Khan's such a fucking mark for himself and the product, I mean, it kind of only makes sense. And then the fact that he lost Cody Rhodes and he lost fucking CM Punk. I mean, let me stop. Let me stop. I can always do that later, but let me stop. But that's what it looks like to me. It's literally turned into a fucking growery over there for the WWE. To be honest, it's literally a paid development company over there. You know what I'm saying? Go over there, get a big pay. You got an injury or something, or we haven't used you on television for a while, or, you know, maybe your contract behind the scenes with us has expired, but you feel like you can still go. No problem. Go over there to fucking AEW and shit, because it's run by clowns anyway, more often than not, unfortunately. Not completely, but you know what I mean. There's some clowns over there. Go over there, get a nice paycheck, man. Get your name up, get healthy. You know what I'm saying? And then in a year or two, we'll bring you back. That's literally what it's turning into. And then they have this whole situation with Japan, which you would think is like a golden opportunity, and I feel like that shit's getting squandered and whatever.
So that's going to be exciting. I'm very interested in that, and I hope that it'll work out. You know, we don't know. We actually have no clue what's going to happen. Will people show up to watch? Will they not? Will people engage in support? Will they not?
How about we just see if we can get them through the door first before they have to start throwing money at us, Phil? How about we just start off with that? Why does it always have to be, will they show up? Will they give us money? Get them through the door first. See if they like the product first. And then worry about whether you can get contributions or engagement or whatever the fuck you want to call the buzzword for giving me money, or buzz term for giving me money. Fucking A, bro.
You don't know. So we're going to give it a shot. More details coming on where that will be broadcast, the time that will be broadcast, if there'll be clips or if it'll be archived. All that will be coming soon. We don't have it nailed down yet. We're going to work on it in the next couple nights. Once we have all the details, I will let you know.
And this is literally a pay-to-win type situation. Great screenshot, by the way. Like, you don't even know if people are going to like it or not. You're already talking about doing clips. You're talking about doing shorts, and you're doing all... Stop. Just do a couple episodes and see what happens before you start clipping shit and doing all this extra shit, man. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Doesn't even know how the product is even going to be displayed, how it's even going to go. But he's already figuring out or trying to figure out how it's going to get monetized. That's crazy, man.
And full speed ahead on that. All right. What an awesome new project for the new year, right?
That we still haven't bought the platform that we need to engage with set project. Yeah, that makes sense. Gotcha.
Cool. All right. So that's what I mean. If we have the year-end series and they end up being Sunday night, Monday night, and then I have this new wrestling commentary show Tuesday night, I very well may only have like another couple days left in the week. And if we have the marathon, so you see what I mean? This next week is going to be a weird one. All I'm going to say is I'm actually happy there's no new games coming out right now of any level of interest. If there were,
there are plenty of games out there. You're just not going to play them, or you're going to end up wage quitting them after a week anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
I'd probably be in a lot of trouble. But
how the fuck are you in trouble with a schedule, with a business, quote unquote, that you run? You dictate what gets played, and you dictate when and how long you quote unquote work. How the fuck is there trouble? You can barely finish the games. How many games are actually on the back burner? Not wage quitted. Because we can all joke and laugh about that shit, and there's plenty of them. How many games that are on the back burner? Secondary playthroughs. Third playthroughs that haven't even been finished yet. That haven't been talked about or touched in months. What about those? Because you can't really count those as wage quits. I mean, you can. Probably should. But you know what I mean? There's always, theoretically, there is always something for him to do and something for him to complete. The irony is, as the years have gone on, less and less games are being finished. There's a whole lot of slop being played, but there's not a whole lot getting finished. Something to think about.
It's an incredibly slow January this year. There's almost nothing coming out, nothing going on in the realm of games.
But he wants to blame the gaming industry for not putting out good games. Even though there are plenty of good games, most of them he don't play, and the ones he does play, he can't finish. Imagine that.
Gaming. So because of that, it's just not a big deal that I'm busy with all of this stuff.
And sooner or later, he's gonna quit gaming. He may not. Let me reword that. I mean, realistically, sooner than later, he's gonna quit gaming. He's kind of already getting there. He may play occasionally. Like, I could see it getting to the point where his 6-day work week, which is pathetic, by the way, will eventually go to 5 days. And I can only see him gaming. I could literally see him just gaming in the evening and just doing long form fucking podcasts during the day. Because realistically speaking, work with me on this. Work with me on this. Let me cook. He only needs his $150 a day. Or during the day streams, I should say. Theoretically, that's all he needs. Once he gets that, the camera can literally just shut off and he's done until the evening. And then he can play whatever little fuckwad game he wants to play that he's going to eventually quit or get beat up on and rage quit or wage quit, either which way. As long as he hits the $300 a day, what's the point? So let's go ahead and fall back a bit. If he can go ahead and have a 3-hour long podcast, so to speak, and if he can pull 150 plus during those 3 hours, he's theoretically done for the day shift. No games, no frustration, no fake posing or posturing like we care about something that we don't. We can just stop. If he decides to play a game that he really does like, all right, I'll give you guys an hour or so and then I'm done. So 4 hours and then 3-hour podcast, an hour, 45 minutes, if you will, of gameplay, and then we're done. Then I'll see you guys at night. And then his supposed chill gameplay session or whatever the hell he wants to call it, and then we're done. As long as he can pull 150, if not, his ass is going to go into overtime, and he's done. So now, these supposed 8-hour days or whatever the hell he likes to tell y'all, it could easily turn into just a 6-hour workday and still getting the same amount of money. Because I think the delusion... I think the expectation that if he stays longer, that he could potentially make more money, I think he's done with that now. I think we're slowly but surely, that train, the Snort Express, if you will, that's about to come to a halt. I think we're getting to the point now where, hey, hit my 150, go ahead and get his little verbal rocks off, maybe play for about an hour, maybe, and be done. It may be easier. It might be a lot easier than to try to drag this shit out, make it seem like he cares, chasing YouTube ad revenue that he don't make no views, so there ain't no real point for him to do that, and just keep it pushing. Anyway, that's not exactly a Theo theory, but that's the way it's starting to look like to me. And so if he can fill his time with interviews or co-ops with other people to carry the weight, carry the burden, I mean, it sounds like it's all up plus for me. If you think about it.
Okay. No, Trills, this is purely a modern wrestling commentary show. The first episode is essentially going to cover Monday Night Raw, the premiere episode on Netflix that's on Monday night. So we're going to talk about it probably Tuesday night. And of course, going back and forth talking about...
Okay, you're going to talk about it Tuesday night, but when does it actually get uploaded, though? That's kind of the real question. Because remember, he wants to talk about shorts and clips and all that bullshit. Obviously, the stream's going to be available because he's doing it on YouTube and Kick respectfully, but when's everything else, when's the edited content of all that going to be uploaded, to be honest with you? Something to think about.
Modern wrestling and stuff that I've got to get caught up on. That's basically what the first show will be. And then after that, we're going to be covering not only Monday Night Raw.
So you're going to try to cover a 4-year deficit in one night? Sure you are. Sure you are. That's like you having panty time with Kat one time is going to have her drop 200 pounds. Sure, buddy. I'm sure that's how that works.
But possibly any big pay-per-view events and stuff going up. But we'll talk about that on the show, obviously. Cool. Keep in mind, I haven't done a lick of wrestling commentary since mid-2014.
Wait, now that I think about it, you barely are willing to do the television shit. So why are you so focused on the pay-per-view events? Something to think about. It really, he's showing his, that's a great screenshot too. That's really kind of him showing his age. Like back when, I mean, don't be wrong, obviously the monthly events and shit mean something, but I don't know if they're nearly as prominent as if they were back in his day. You know what I mean? So I mean, that kind of shows you, he's really showing his age here, if you ask me, as it pertains to that anyway.
When I retired my old wrestling commentary show, Smart Guys, and I had every intention of continuing that show when I moved out here to Washington State, and it never happened. So,
oh, you didn't blame, you decided not to blame John on that? Funny, because he never had a problem doing that before. I mean, obviously it's bad optics, so he's not going to do that now. Kind of seems weird to blame a former co-host on a product that you're trying to produce and whatnot, when you have a current one that's literally watching you stream and talking about this shit. It might give them a bad taste in their mouth. But then again, it may just be a red herring, a foretelling, if you will, or foreshadowing of what comes later.
Guys, and I had every intention of continuing that show when I moved out here to Washington State, and it never happened. So it kind of sucks. I didn't intend to fall out of wrestling content. It just happened naturally.
So why couldn't you just do it yourself then? Because you guys already know the story. For those of you who know. If when John said, "Hey, I got to get my life back together. I got to fix shit. Run. Basically steer the ship without me and shit until I get a chance to get back into play." Why didn't you just keep doing it? Well, the reason why that was because he wasn't even watching the product anyway. At the point that he was trying to get John back into play to do this particular thing, DSP wasn't even watching the product. And if you go back and watch those episodes, you can tell who's really hip to the product and who isn't. You can tell who's the real fan and who's the poser. It wasn't hard to tell then. It's not going to be that much harder to tell now.
So now we'll see how it works jumping back in. You're surprised the show is happening? Why are you surprised? Can we watch the mask? Can we watch the clip of Sting taking off a Sting mask to reveal Sting underneath? Right now, as people are asking.
I feel like he's just hurting himself when he does those fake laughs. Not only like physically, but psychologically. I feel like you're really just hurting yourself doing that. You should really just stop. It's not good for you.
All these questions right now, we have absolutely no idea 100%.
And what the hell is this weird blind man shit? Do you miss Super Blind Man? You know what? That's really low for me. Fuck it. Do you really miss Super Blind Man that much that we're gonna go ahead and do this shit? You know what? I'm gonna bring that back because I'm an asshole. I'm gonna do it. Like, what is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? And given all the, hey, Super Blind Man, you're not seeing things from my perspective. You didn't mind saying that to him when he was alive. So why are we cosplaying as him as now that he's dead? I'm just asking. That seems disrespectful if you ask me.
Right now, as people are asking all these questions, right now we have absolutely no idea 100% what we're doing yet. The future shows. This first show.
What is this? Gouty Stevie Wonder? What the fuck is this? All right, man. All right, man. That's really, really bizarre.
Will just be Monday Night Raw and talking about getting caught up with modern wrestling. That's it. Will we ever cover other stuff? I have no idea. Here's the thing. I don't want to be spending 1 million hours a week watching wrestling. I don't.
So you're not a fan. You don't care about the product. Whatever I can do to make a buck off of it. And that's why we're scratching our fucking gouty, unwashed neck. Because you ain't sat there and exposed yourself. Hey guys, I'm going to come up here and be a mark and be a shill for this product that I really don't give a fuck about. You know what I'm saying? I just want to get my shillings, my shekels, during the week. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? Minimum time, minimum work, minimum time involved, maximum profit. That shit. That's not the exact term, but you get my drift.
Be spending 1 million hours a week watching wrestling. I don't. I just don't have time for it. Watching one.
I want to have a wrestling show, but I don't have time for it. Oh, Phil, you're great. You're great. Oh, good shit.
Wrestling show a week and taking notes or whatever, watching a pay-per-view event and taking notes. Okay. Watching Raw and SmackDown and NXT and all the other shows that they do, plus the pay-per-view events, plus AEW, plus New Japan Pro Wrestling.
No one's demanding all that from you. But if you're going to do a wrestling podcast about the WWE, you're probably going to need to do Raw, SmackDown, eventually NXT, and obviously, whatever live events that they have. That seems par for the course. Maybe if you watched other people who do wrestling podcasts, you might have an idea of the flow of all this, but whatever. Gouty semantics, I guess.
Plus Ring of Honor. Wrestling is not going to be my job. Okay?
I mean, playing games theoretically isn't your job either, because you don't know shit about the industry. You just give your opinion on it.
It's not. I want to maybe watch a show or two. That's it. I don't want to be heavily involved in this crap.
I don't want to be heavily involved in a project that I'm expecting you guys to show up to and give me money. Oh, that's so good. That is so good. Oh, man. Phil, people are going to use you as a stepping stone for this shit. Oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be fun. Oh, I'm going to have a blast with this shit.
I want it to be a nice side project that I do. I can kind of be like the guy trying to get caught back up.
Basically, make PPP, do all the work and shit, and I want to sit back and coast. No, let me bring that shit back. Because it literally was exactly what I told you it was going to be.
Oh, I want it to be a nice side project that I do. I can kind of be like the guy trying to get caught back up with it and giving you my opinions. Keep in mind, I used to watch it a lot. I mean, I did a show for many years about it.
That doesn't mean jack shit. That doesn't mean jack shit. Because John did all the heavy lifting back then, too. So that really means nothing. It's not even a point of reference. So why would you even do that? If that right there is supposed to be your resume, you failed miserably. Get the fuck out of my office.
Mark guys was 3-4 years running. So it'll be fun to get back into it, but I can't make this be
3 years. You had a 3-year run 10 years ago. Great job, Phil. That really, that makes me real confident. Phil, when this shit really finally fails and you actually have to go out and actually get a job, oh man, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. When you try to go ahead and tell someone your credentials to get in the middle management, because you're not going any further than that. Holy shit.
An insane amount of work, you know what I mean? No, I have no plan. I don't even know where SmackDown airs. We're not going to do SmackDown this week. It's just going to be about Monday Night Raw that day after. I don't even know where SmackDown is. No clue.
Oh man. That's fucking wild.
Okay. No, this has nothing to do with WWE champions.
Useless. Absolutely fucking useless. Holy shit. Oh, that's great. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now for the last course of this shit Sunday. This is from January 3rd, 2025, brought to us by Raw Phil. Here we go.
Okay. Tuesday. Here's the big announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, if all goes according to plan, which fingers crossed it does, knock on wood it does. Right now everything's looking good, but you don't know, you never know what could happen between now and Tuesday. Tuesday will be the premiere of my brand new wrestling commentary show starring myself and co-host Ashton from Kino Casino. The show will air in place of the Level 1 podcast.
You know what? I just thought about this. Even though I was mocking him in the last video in the shit. Maybe he does that shit with his eyes because he is slowly but surely going blind. And maybe that's how he's trying to offset the blurriness of it. I wonder. Because Chantel kind of does that shit too. She's not as blatant about it though. But it's very clear that Chantel's starting to lose her eyesight. And I'm wondering, is that what's going on with Phil too? Is his eyes starting to get cloudy and whatnot? And his eyesight starting to leave him. And maybe he does the squinting to kind of force him to tear up a bit, or at least force it to clear up. I wonder. Because he squints a lot too. Ignore that. That's just me theorizing. I'm very curious about that shit. I mean, obviously it's a tick that he has too, but I wonder if there is an actual reason behind it. Besides, he's just a fucking weirdo.
That way, it doesn't interfere with Kino Casino, because they always broadcast at night. So we're actually going to do it earlier on in the day. So there will not be a Level 1 podcast on Tuesday. Instead, it will be the premiere of our new wrestling commentary show. Now, we're talking about how to do it. I'm going to be the one broadcasting this. All right. So I'll be setting it up at, Discord and everything, and I'll be broadcasting the show.
Which is fitting because you should be doing all the technical shit, which is ironic because he can barely do anything technical. And PPP should get the coast because PPP actually has to carry your ass during the actual show itself. I think that's actually rather fitting, to be honest with you. I mean, truth be told, really, Andy should be the one operating all the hardware and shit. He doesn't have to be on screen or anything, but he should be the one setting up the actual OBS and make sure everybody's on point so this doesn't turn into a complete and utter clusterfuck. But, you know, Andy has to sleep off the previous night's bender or whatever the case may be, so I guess it is what it is. But, okay. But I think that's fitting. I think that's fitting. And you can tell he seems a bit disgruntled about that. Like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. Even though he's going to get all the profit. You'll see. It's coming up.
It's going to, I guess, be co-broadcast. I don't see why not. Like, I don't see a reason to only do it on YouTube or only do it on Kick. I feel like the co-broadcasting is working. So I think I'm going to co-broadcast it here on, well, actually, now that I said that, if it's a wrestling commentary show, it should be on my React channel.
Why? You can't actually react to anything per se. You're the one that's crying, complaining about how you can't use clips, you can't do this, you can't do that. People have figured out a way around that, but apparently you're not smart to do it. But anyway, so where does it matter where it's going? It's 2 dead channels. Who gives a fuck? I mean, theoretically, why isn't it on KO Gaming? Why can't it just go there? Whatever. Or not KO Gaming, whatever the fuck it's called now.
Let's be honest. We don't want it on DSP Gaming, right? So I'll co-broadcast it. It'll be live streamed on DSP Reacts, okay? But also co-streamed on my Kick channel, DSP Gaming Reel. So you're
it's a clever way. It's not clever. He's just trying to funnel as many people from the Kino Casino audience into Kick to try to get himself, to try to give that channel validity and hopefully be able to get it on the path of getting into a partnership. Which is ironic because he says that he wouldn't go back to Twitch because there is no benefit because he doesn't have a managed partnership nor does he have affiliate. And he can't get paid from it. But all you're catching over there on Kick is what? Paid memberships or whatever? I mean, why not just dual stream on Twitch and YouTube and just have everybody give you tips like they normally do? And then you can kind of build yourself back up to affiliate. I mean, that's if they'll even approve him for monetization ever again, which they might not, given that Wings, believe it or not, has tried almost every year since he's gotten bumped off and they still won't let him back on. Which really makes me wonder, to some degree, what exactly happened during that purge, because fucking LTG is still over there. There's actually quite a few lol cows that are over there on Twitch. So, I don't know. Maybe sometimes pissing off an audience and turning them into haters might not actually be the go.
We're going to have both, all right? Okay. And Ashton's here. He says, it's going to be amazing. Get hype. Yes. But what we're going to do, I'm going to get Netflix and we're going to watch.
Yeah. I've only got select clips for this shit. Big ups to Diggs. But, yeah, the way PPP had DSP dancing up there like a hooker is pretty distasteful. It's kind of funny, but it's pretty distasteful. Holy shit. I haven't seen strippers have the enthusiasm that Phil did when fucking PPP was over there. That shit was crazy, man.
Monday Night Raw, its big premiere on Netflix on Monday night. And our first show is going to be pretty interesting because it's me getting caught up on like 4.5, 5 years of wrestling that I missed out on because I haven't watched pro wrestling since 2020. So for me to actually watch a modern WWE product is going to be pretty interesting. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. It's been so long, you know. There were some things about WWE I like and some.
Someone tell me what's the appeal of any of this. I don't understand why he thinks this would be appealing. At all. At all. It'd been different if, like, let me give you a hypothetical. So let's say someone wanted to do like a co-podcast. One guy comes from a boxing background, another guy comes from like an MMA background, and they both choose to, you know, and within their respected medians, they choose to have this co-podcast and they choose to talk about different aspects in the fields that they like, and maybe that drums up some interest amongst the other hosts, and you know, then you got 2 different audiences you bring in. Something like that makes sense. You having somebody who actually watches the product, and another guy who, by his own words, by his own snorts, says that he really hasn't had any involvement in it, nor has he had any real interest in it, which is a lie, but whatever. Have any involvement or interest in the shit for over 4 years. where's the, like, what is he bringing to the table? He's not bringing the audience, he's not bringing the money, and he's not bringing the demand. So what is he bringing to the table? I know, I'm just being a dickhead and shit and cutting him down for fucking, well, it's not for no reason, but realistically, like, what is he bringing to the table? He's just another monkey behind the typewriter, while PPP is eventually going to be the real draw and the only thing that people are really going to care about. PPP is about to finesse Phil's ass on his own platform, and Phil can't do shit about it, which is hilarious. Now, most of you will be like, well, hey, Golden, you just said a minute ago that PPP ain't going to get any money. Sometimes there's things more important than money. Sometimes it's more important than money. When you can go ahead and humiliate somebody on their own platform and they laugh and they're smiling at you and being like, yeah, shit, that's great. Go ahead, keep going. Sometimes, you know, money can't buy you that. You know what I'm saying? Money can buy you a lot, but money can't buy you that.
Things I absolutely hate, but you know, has it changed? Everyone tells me that it's changed, that it's improved, and it's a better product now. Well, I'm going to figure this out. No, I don't have Netflix. Ashton says, fuck you, Phil. You don't have Netflix. No, I don't have Netflix. No, we have Max. We have Amazon Prime Video because we have Amazon Prime and we have Max. So no, I don't have I don't have Netflix, but I'm going to get it. Okay, you know what I heard too? Someone contacted me and they said, if you get a VPN, I don't know how I would make this work, but if you get a VPN, apparently, like WWE, all of their content is on Netflix if you are like in Great Britain. And I guess you could use a VPN and get like every WWE show through Netflix. I don't know if this is true or not.
Has this idiot really not heard of what region blocking is? All right, whatever. I'm not even going to bother explaining that shit. I'm just preaching to the choir. But you don't even know what that is? Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, this could be good.
I guess I'll have to try to figure it out, but I'm not going to do that now.
And why are you sipping carbonated water? Carbonated flavor water, I'm pretty sure. From your fucking cup like it's tea, bruh. Like, what's that about? All right, whatever. Whatever.
You know, for now, it's going to be watch a Monday Night Raw, and then Ashton and I are going to do this awesome show Tuesday morning, co-broadcast on, you know, DSP Reacts and on Kick, where we're going to just talk about wrestling for a couple of hours. You know, we're going to talk about the show. We're going to go through, you know, match by match and segment by segment, and, you know, just like I used to do.
Okay, so how are you going to catch up on 4 years of the product while you're going to be doing match by match breakdowns of the current product that you're going to watch the night before? So when do we get into the 4 years of catch up? I'm just curious.
My show Smart Guys over a decade ago. That's
that no one cares about, that most people haven't even watched, and most people wouldn't even know where to find it. Matter of fact, is that why you want it on DSP Reacts? Is that part of the archive? Give me a second. I'm now actually wanting to check. Give me just a minute. Okay. All right. Yeah, Silly Little Piggy. Yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. But that's just like, that was 11 years ago. That shit's deep in the fucking archives. No one's gonna look for that. Like, I mean, my dumb ass will. But no one else is really going to do that. Wait a second. Did you guys know that there's a channel out there called Smart Busters? Really? That was 8 years ago. They kind of had like a wrestling podcast type thing too. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, okay, that makes sense why he wants to have it over there with DSP Reacts. He's gonna try to, and that's why he keeps saying, I had this show 10 years ago. He really thinks that's gonna drum up interest, and people are gonna go back and look for that and be like, oh wow, let's go. Maybe I'll go ahead and check out DSP's old shit. Okay, no, that's not gonna happen, Phil, but I guess one can dream. I guess one can dream.
exactly what I did, and that's how we're gonna treat this show. Okay, so that's the thing. Like, I need to get caught up. I just don't know about WWE today. I missed, like Lady Charisma just said in chat, you missed the entire Cody Rhodes, you know, rise plot line, and he's amazing now. I literally have not seen Cody Rhodes wrestle since he left WWE. He was dressed as Stardust.
Oh wow, so you missed like his whole New Japan run and shit. Oh wow, that's unfortunate because he actually had a pretty decent run. To be honest with you, that I think he really was a damn good heel, at least for a bit. Okay, all right, fair enough.
The last time that I saw him wrestle, no exaggeration. I mean, I've seen clips of him in AEW.
Of course,
I've never watched a match of his in over a decade. So yeah, this will be interesting to try to get caught up on the plot lines. Like I guess Roman Reigns.
So he missed the complete American Nightmare fucking situation. He fucked up and messed up all that bullshit. There's no way you're gonna get caught up. It will take Ashton months to get you prepped. Not even get you caught up, just to get you prepped. Holy shit.
Is back, and he's like a tweener now, where he's not good and he's not bad. He's kind of like almost an Austin-like character.
Yeah, he's not pulling it off very well though. So I mean, there's that.
Like a tweener now, where he's not good.
Sorry, I'm gonna go back a little bit further. I accidentally spoke through all that.
Seen Cody Rhodes wrestle since he left WWE. He was dressed as Stardust the last time that I saw him wrestle. No exaggeration. I mean, I've seen clips of him in AEW, but I've never watched a match of his in over a decade. So yeah, this will be interesting to try to get caught up on the plot lines. Like I guess Roman Reigns is back, and he's like a tweener now, where he's not good and he's not bad. He's kind of like almost an Austin-like character. Last time I was watching WWE, no one liked Roman Reigns. They thought that he was like a crappy John Cena, and everyone hated his guts.
That's not a reason why they liked he was disliked. First off, the reason why people didn't like Roman Reigns is because he's limited. He still is theoretically. He's better now, but he's limited, to be honest with you. Two, he was supposed to be a replacement. Like he was supposed to be like the replacement for The Rock, not for fucking John Cena. John Cena is just really a knockoff between Mark Wahlberg and fucking or whatever his whatever Mark Wahlberg's like rap name was back in those days or whatever. He's basically a cross between Mark Wahlberg and Eminem. But the truth is, I mean, that's an insult to Mark Wahlberg and Eminem, honestly. Even though I think John Cena and Mark Wahlberg are actually friends in IRL. Anyway, truth be told, he's probably closer to like a Mark Wahlberg and like an Everlast. For those of you who are hip hop heads, you know who that is. And ironically enough, he's beefed with Eminem before. That's probably really what he is. But that's what that gimmick is with John Cena. Roman Reigns wasn't liked because he's limited, and it's very clear that Vince wanted to push that guy to the moon. And he just wasn't, he was too green. He just didn't have enough experience. That's the reason why he was with the Shield in the first place. Because he couldn't run it on his own. And there was no way, especially back in the day, that Roman Reigns was going to be able to carry the company on his back. It didn't matter how fucking hard they pushed him. It just wasn't going to happen. He needed time to develop. I still think he kind of does. He's better now, though, but I feel like, but that's because of Paul Heyman. But he needs time, and he needed better direction. That's really what it was. No one, not that I remember, have ever said that he's the equivalent to a John Cena. That's... I just never heard anybody compare him to John Cena. I've never heard that. It just seems odd.
Now, I guess he had the whole tribal chief plotline. Now everyone likes him. So, I mean, I'm so behind. Ashton says, no, Cody's still a jobber. He sucks. Don't let them gaslight you. Well, there you go. Again, I got to get caught up. I got to get caught up, man. All right, well. So, on Tuesday, instead of the Level 1 podcast, we will do the new wrestling commentary show, and it will be co-broadcast at the same time that this podcast would have been broadcast, okay? And I'll likely archive the show. Here's the thing, guys. Just so everyone knows, I don't want to get everyone's expectations up here. We can't use any WWE footage. I got to make this abundantly clear. WWE is so copyright abuse happy that if you...
Coming from another asshole who's he used to be. I mean, he still is. He's just a snake about it. He just gets other people to do copyright strikes for him. But coming from another person who's copyright happy.
You use a fucking thumbnail on your video with a person from WWE, they'll strike your goddamn video down. Okay? To give you some perspective, you remember June the King did a documentary on me, right? Do you remember in that documentary there was one scene where Stone Cold Steve Austin punched Vince McMahon? They copyright struck his video for it.
I don't remember that being the reason. Give me a second. Let me actually look this up. Okay. I tried to go to his community tab because I swore he put up a post about it, and when they had to re-upload it. But I swore it was over, like, I thought it was for like a small segment that had music in it. I thought. Huh. I don't want to take DSP's word on it because he's not to be trusted, but he could be right. Broken clock is right twice a day anyway. But I was pretty sure I thought he got hit over music from WWE, not for that. Huh. I mean, really, all they did was just demonetize the video, which sucks. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. That's why you had to take it down and re-upload it and shit. So what happens when you get too close to the Gouty sun and shit? There's gonna be consequences. Anyway, we'll run with that for now until I can debunk it.
So
why are you smirking about that either? About that too. Sorry, not either. But why were you smirking about that? That's not cool. That dude put a lot of time. He had to pay people to get shit done, and you sat there and you're laughing about that shit like this shit's funny. That dude lost a lot of money on that project, Phil. You think that shit's hilarious? Wow, you ain't kissed June's ass all this time. The moment he ain't sat there and get demonetized, or at least the video did anyway. You think it's hilarious? Interesting.
Where Stone Cold Steve Austin punched Vince McMahon, they copyright struck his video for it.
Like, why is he chuckling about that? This is the same bitch who will sit there and will cry and complain when his videos get demonetized for various reasons and how fucked up it is and how greedy people are and how incompetent YouTube is and Google and so on and so forth. But he don't mind laughing at somebody else's plight? Okay, whatever.
So we can't use any footage. It has to just be us talking about WWE. Just like, again, like I used to do a decade ago on the Smart Guys show. We have to do that. It's ridiculous how bad they are about it. What's the point of doing a show if it immediately gets taken off the internet, right? So it's just going to be us talking about wrestling. I think it'll be fun because it's two completely different perspectives. You know, Ash has been watching the wrestling constantly. I haven't been watching any of it. So it's going to be like, again, I'm kind of like the straight man cold going into this, trying to re-immerse myself in the wrestling landscape while he's versed on everything. So it'll be very interesting. I'm sure there's going to be things on Raw. I'm going to be like, what the fuck are we looking at? Like, what is this segment? What happened to this wrestler? You know, I've even heard like half the plot lines are done. Like, remember the what were they called? The hurt business or whatever. Did they all leave? They all left and now they're in another wrestling federation doing the same plot line or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be fun. So Tuesday is the premiere of our wrestling show. I'll give you the official name and all this stuff once it's ready. I'm actually working on a few things right now that are cooking. Let's put it that way. So when I come back on Sunday, Monday, we'll talk more and I'll give you the solid concrete details. Her business went to AEW. See what I mean? Like, what the hell, man? It's so ridiculous. Anyway, it's going to be fun. Even you know, what we're curious to see is how many people are interested in the show. Because number one, obviously, people who are into, you know, Ashton and his stuff from Kino Casino might want to come over just from curiosity's sake. But, you know, I had a fan base that was into pro wrestling. I did. You know, I had the commentary show for many years, and then I was doing the WWE Sims and everything for a long time. So will we get interest back? I don't know.
And on both of those fronts, they dwindled to nothing. Not the Kino Casino part, but DSP in particular. That all dwindled to nothing. When was the last time he played a WWE Champions game? Or Champion, sorry. When has he played a WWE Sims game? Or even had a WWE Sims match? It's been a while. I don't think he did it last Christmas. And I don't know if he did it the Christmas before. Because I think he skipped the last WWE game that came out. Because he had a bad taste from the previous one. I think. Don't quote me on that.
See. By the way, I do have HBO Max. AEW is on HBO Max? It is? Are you sure? Because I have it and I haven't seen it ever there. I haven't ever seen it listed on there.
Because he doesn't watch it often. Pat probably watches it, not him. Just keep exposing yourself, Phil. Just keep exposing yourself. Or, I guess, another Mr. Blind Man impression. Or he's watching it on his phone in his office or downstairs when Kat's not around or when she's not around him. They're clearly not watching it on television together. Wow, Phil, you just kind of outright exposing yourself on all kinds of silly shit. That relationship sounds real strong. Real strong.
And I haven't seen it ever there. I haven't ever seen it listed on there. I'm going to check. It's there. It just started this week? No wonder I didn't know. Oh, God.
Keep in mind, it's Friday when the video's going on. Friday. So when's the last time you actually used that app, Phil? Makes you think.
It is there. Collision Dynamite. Oh, they have 2 shows? I've never seen an episode of AEW ever. Collision and Dynamite. So they have 2 shows. Swerve Strickland battles Shelton Benjamin. Private Party challenges. Hey, I was reading that. I didn't say play it. I wanted to read the description, you fucker. All right, forget. I'm closing it. Closing it right now before I get too invested. Well, it's on there. Oh, my God. All right, anyway. So, all right, well, we'll have to talk about this. But anyway, so the premiere's Tuesday during the same time slot as the podcast. Here's the other good thing about this, too. If we do it during the time when I would do the podcast, it won't interfere with my gameplay streams, and it won't interfere with Kino Casino stream. It'll be our own thing going on that won't really mess with anyone's schedule, which is kind of cool, actually. And to be...
What the fuck? What are you trying to do? Win fucking PPP from fucking Andy? What is this shit? You don't mind being the other fucking... You don't mind being the other side, bitch? Like, what is this? Oh, that's weird. That's really, really weird. But all right.
Frank...
It also kind of cuts into... Or it actually shows, I think, in a bit, to some degree, I should say, the value of the content that he's putting out compared to what he could be putting out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the emphasis to make all these changes when supposedly his schedule is already incredibly strict. There's very little leeway that can be had, but he can go ahead and set this up and make sure that not only is it accommodating to the other person, PPP, but, oh, well, I wasn't going to do anything worthwhile anyway, so who gives a shit? Wow, Phil. Just like Rich, giving up that fucking, his main channel. Oh, well, it was just a hemorrhoid on my ass. I'm glad to be done with it. So none of those people meant anything to you. All those years didn't mean shit to you. All those fights that you got with people, or that he got into it with people, online, and Rich has had a few of them, and people said, oh, your channel isn't making much anyway. That's the reason why you're so desperate to do this and do that. And you were like, no, my channel does great, man. It makes me all the money that I need to take care of my family. We all know that's not true because your parents would take care of your family. I mean, it proves all of them right. All those people who shitted on Rich all those years ago, saying that if he put more focus on his channel and less focus on drama, his channel could have been so much more. It actually kind of proves it the way he gave it up. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
Also, in regards to the podcast, listen, I love doing this show, but it's hard to do this show 6 days a week. It really is. Like, there's not necessarily a lot of content.
It's hard for you to do this show 6 days a week. Oh, fucking A, son. Oh, shit. It's hard for me to come up here and bitch about my personal problems and hating detractors and saying that the game industry is trash and everybody on YouTube are frauds. It's hard for me to do this 6 days a week. Oh, that's great. That's great.
It'll be our own thing going on that won't really mess with anyone's schedule, which is kind of cool, actually. And to be frank, also, in regards to the podcast, listen, I love doing this show, but it's hard to do this show 6 days a week. It really is. Like, there's...
So then why'd you drop down to 5 then? He's actually admitting to you that he does this for an extra day for no fucking reason. So all that bullshit that he keep talking about, oh, I want to spend time with my wife, but I have to work, I have to work, I have to work. He's literally admitting that, no, I don't. I could literally just do this 5 days. And I'm kind of wasting my time, and theoretically, I'm kind of wasting other people's time too. Good job, Phil. Good job. I knew you'd come around eventually.
Not necessarily a lot of content to cover every morning. So to have the show be something different once a week, I feel it's a fine idea. So this will be interesting. I hope you guys will tune into that Tuesday morning.
Yo, check this out. Check this out, because this kind of feeds into what I was saying earlier. Let's say, hypothetical Pignosis, our favorite game. Let's say this shit actually does somewhat pop off in the short term, as everything Phil does. It's only short term, and it usually fails in the long term. Is this idiot really going to sacrifice potentially 2 days a week, possibly 3, just to do wrestling content, and then the other 3 days doing his bottom bitch podcast? Think about it. Because, for a few months, let's say that, there's decent viewership, and for him, there's a lot of contributions or whatnot. I mean, theoretically, he could just consolidate whatever the quote-unquote news day had into whatever the next day is going to be. So, wrestling one day, bottom bitch nonsense the next day, wrestling one day, bottom bitch the next day. I mean, it kind of writes itself, theoretically. Interesting. Interesting.
And again, more details coming when I have them. I got some stuff cooking, in regards to it. So I hope that you'll continue to check out the podcast.
You don't cook, though. You heat shit up. There's a difference. There's a difference. You heat shit up. You don't cook. Or you order out. You don't cook.
Podcast here the next couple of days. I'll give you more updates. All right. And I'll just say this ahead of time to Ashton, who's in the chat. Thanks for teaming up for something cool like this. Like, neither of us know how this is going to go. Obviously, it's just something completely different and outside of our comfort zones and stuff that we're doing. But we're like, why not do it? Why not just try?
Did you basically say thank you, Ashton, for giving me another chance? It's not even like this is the first chance. This is not like the first time he's teamed up with you. You're basically saying thank you for giving you another chance. Oh boy, that's pathetic.
And more details coming when I have them. I got some stuff cooking, in regards to it. So I hope that you'll continue to check out the podcast here the next couple of days. I'll give you more updates. All right. And I'll just say this ahead of time to Ashton, who's in the chat. Thanks for teaming up for something cool like this. Like, neither of us know how this is going to go. Obviously, it's just something completely different and outside of our comfort zones and stuff that we're doing. But we're like, why not do it? Why not just try something new in 2025? What's the risk? There's no risk. The show sucks and we both suck. Who cares? But I think it might be great. I think it might be really good. We'll have to see. Okay?
That's really pathetic. That's really, really pathetic. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it, what he's trying to say. He's basically saying, hey, thanks for giving me a shot. Thanks for getting in bed with me, I guess, and whatnot, which is, I wonder if he ever told Kat that, hey, thanks for, whatever. Anyway, I wonder if if he extended her that grace. But it seems kind of strange that, it seems kind of strange. You showing that amount of gratitude to another man when you couldn't even show that type of gratitude to your own wife or to Brian. What about all those times Brian came up there and fucking contributed and, well, maybe not contributed, but did co-op with you? Did he ever get a thank you for that bullshit? Did you ever big up him on the fucking podcast the next day or even the day before? No, we can't do that, but we have to do that for PPP, though. Does that not sound weird? You ever do that for John and Howard or OJ? Never did that for any of those guys. Like, that seems really, really weird, man. That seems really, really weird. I know somebody could try to make the argument, well, doesn't this show growth on his end? Doesn't it show that he's trying to be better as a person? Not really. Dick sucking is still dick sucking, no matter how you cut it. And DSP is not a genuine person. He just has no choice. He doesn't have any options. He said it himself. He's reached out to multiple people, and no one will reach out back to him. PPP is all he's got. That's literally what it is. He has no other choice. See, when you have choices, when you have options, whenever you show gratitude, it kind of means something because you have options. You have, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to participate with this particular person or this particular group of people. You can choose to be whoever you want to be with. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a choice, if you have to, like this idiot, pick up somebody else's sloppy seconds, like with Superman, I mean, you take what you can get. And that's what this sounds like. That's really how he comes off. You're the only person in my corner, PPP. Thank you. He didn't have a choice. He doesn't have any options. There's no one else that's willing to gamble on him. And PPP has all the upside on this. He don't lose anything. Even with the little bit of money that he's given up, he's still not losing. You know what I mean? He's still going to win PPP should theoretically win in the long run. It makes you think.
Lady Charisma says Dynamite is their A show and it airs every Wednesday. Collision is the B show and it airs on Saturday. Okay. I don't know anything about AEW. I don't know who's in AEW. Nothing. I'm so...
Even though we just read the description about AEW on the app. You know what? Let me stop.
I'm so out of the loop on all of it, so it'll be very interesting to catch up on that. Okay. I received my first tip of the day, $2, 2 buckaroos. I don't know, Ashton, I don't know. I don't know if I can get Netflix. It's kind of pricey. I've heard that they've raised their prices recently. Isn't it like a $20 now, $20 a month? That's absolutely preposterous.
Oh yeah, that's a WWE Champions pool. I could see how that might be a bit hindering. Even though you're probably going to write the subscription off on your taxes anyway, or at least if you can. So it's not like it means much. Semantics.
How dare they? I'm the king. They should bring the content to me. Like, I should just have all the shows I want to watch delivered, hand delivered to me for free. I should not have to pay. Pay? A king who pays for streaming content? That sounds preposterous. I may break the bank. If I spend $20 a month, I might not be able to afford the games for the month. I don't know how I'd be able to do that.
That's actually kind of funny because for those of you who may remember this, they wanted DSP to do to actually go to the movie theater and do reactions to movies. Right? It's like pre-COVID, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm sure it was pre-COVID. And he's like, "Oh, I can't go because I don't really have the money for it, and I can't afford to miss out on games." There were people. This is when he was on Twitch. People were like, "Dude, I'll donate the money to you now so you can go and see the movie, and then you could come back and do an honest reaction of it." Oh, I don't know if I can have the time, and the prices and all this bullshit. So the fact that he's, let's say, 4 or 5 plus years later, comes full circle and tries to joke about something that he himself has actually said is wild. Wild.
I might have to start selling things in my set. I might have to...
Oh, you mean like that fucking DVD collection allegedly that's downstairs that you had to sell because times are really, really tough and you and Catherine could barely meet ends meet? This shit writes itself. This shit writes itself.
Sell this Tesla lamp in order to afford Netflix to watch Raw.
Oh, you mean like how you had to sell the statues and shit? You remember that? Remember how you had to stay up till like the early mornings taking pictures of all that shit? Nothing came out of it and whatnot? And then some bullshit about sending you large donations through. That's something different. That Western Union shit was kind of funny too.
Can't have that. Darksydephil says that's if you want Netflix to stay ad-free. Otherwise, it's still reasonable. I wonder how much it actually is. I'll take a look. I mean, obviously, I'm going to get it. Obviously, I'll get it. I wonder if there's anything else on Netflix to watch. I haven't had it in years. Last time I had Netflix was the Stranger Things season where it was the summertime and they all worked at the mall. I don't know what season that was, but that's the last time I had Netflix. If I don't get the 4K plan, then the Raw reviews will be a lie. How can we know you saw it properly? Actually, I don't even know what resolution my phone does.
Why are you watching all these things on your phone? So, I mean, this kind of harkens back to when him and Catherine lost power or the internet went out. I can't remember which one it was. And people were like, well, why don't you and Kat just spend time with each other or whatnot? It's like, how can we do that? Because we don't have the internet. So these idiots, these two potatoes, are literally just sitting on their couch or in separate rooms, which is what I'm really assuming is the situation, on their phones or on their televisions, watching whatever they are watching, and they're not really watching it together. These people are completely and utterly separated, and which I've been preaching this shit for years. That these motherfuckers are just roommates. This is an arrangement. This is a, she's window dressing. She's a fucking beard. She's a curtain. This shit is fucking illegitimate as fuck. Why the fuck are you watching all of this shit on your fucking phone, dude? You could literally be watching this on a TV, especially in his quote unquote audience. Sorry. He could be watching this shit in his office / studio / whatever the fuck you want to call it. But he literally does everything through his goddamn phone. So you can't tell me that him and Catherine are watching anything together. You guys can take this shit to divorce court. I don't want to hear that shit no more. I don't want to hear that shit no more. Because this is bullshit. This is clearly bullshit.
I have no clue what resolution video my phone does. I don't know if it does. I don't think it does 4K. So I don't know if I should. I'm sure they have a plan. I don't know. I'll look at the pricing.
And then the flagrant fucking spending is kind of ridiculous. I got to be honest. Like, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm wondering, like, how much money's coming in through the back end to like justify his spending, because it's damn sure not that crazy in the front end. So that really makes me wonder who's sending big donations to him behind the scenes that we're not hearing about. I'm very curious about that, because that's always been a thing. But fucking A, bro. I mean, there's no way to track it or prove it, though. But it's a thing. If it was a thing, then it still is a thing.
I certainly don't want to watch it with ads. That's going to drive me fucking nuts. To watch shit on, with ads. Oh,
what a hypocrite. On a platform that you literally depend on, well, besides your begging, you literally depend on, I'm sorry, ad revenue. You yourself say you have the nerve to say that you don't like ads. That's wild. All those years that he used to harp at people, saying that if you're using ad block, you're stealing from them. Some lame ass shit like that. Was something along those lines. That's really old shit. And but he himself has the nerve to say, I don't like ads. Fuck all that. I'm not doing that bullshit. I'll pay not to have them. But then again, now that I think about it, he's the one who advocates the push for, what is that, YouTube Premium? You know what I'm saying? So I guess that makes sense. Or whatever the that paid feature's called.
Resolution my phone does. I have no clue what resolution video my phone does. I don't know if it does. I don't think it does 4K. So I don't know if I should. I'm sure they have a plan. I don't know. I'll look at the pricing. I certainly don't want to watch it with ads. That's going to drive me fucking nuts. To watch shit on, with ads. Oh, that will kill me. So I'm going to get the one that's ad free.
Wow.
Gotta go ad free.
Oh man.
Yeah, can you imagine with ads? No, I'm not gonna pirate it. Don't worry. We'll be good. I'm not gonna pirate it. Let's not go crazy here. That pirating, that's exactly how I'm gonna fuck up my new PCs. Start pirating shit.
Yeah, he can barely get mods to function, let alone talking about getting into pirating shit or torrenting shit or stuff like that. Let's ease up on that.
Will Raw not have commercial breaks still? See, that's a good question. How is Raw airing on Netflix? That's actually a legit question. Because Raw is a live broadcast. So if you're watching the live broadcast on Netflix, what happens during the ad breaks? Are they going to still run commercial breaks? Because wouldn't the commercial breaks be different depending on where you are in the world? The live feed is still going to have ads? Oh, wow. Well, I'm probably never going to watch it live. I'll always watch the on-demand right after.
Wait, so when are you planning on actually watching this? Oh, well, it doesn't matter because he stays up till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. So it really doesn't matter. Okay, never mind. Let me go ahead and stop now. The case is solved there.
They already have live football games on Netflix and they have ads. Lady Charisma says the matches are going to still be going on and they're going to have segments in front of the live crowd. Would that be in the replay or are they going to skip that in the replay? This is going to be fascinating, actually. Okay. Now I'm interested in this a lot because I want to know how they're going to pull this off. Because they've never done it like that, right? It's always been on like USA Network. It's just like a regular network TV. They've never done it exclusively on an on-demand network. So I wonder how they're going to pull that off. It'll be interesting to see how it's handled.
Sounds like you're overthinking it. Well, all right.
Kyle over on Kick says, on days that you don't have a lot of topics for the podcast, would you consider replacing it with additional gameplay? Yeah, listen, I've always said if we're on this show and we're running out of topics and not much is going on, I'm always willing to jump into the gameplay.
That's full of shit. Whenever that shit happens, he goes right to the Q&A. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows he always goes in the Q&A. That's always his go-to. He'll be damned that he has to play an extra half hour of fucking gameplay. Or the break before gameplay is just mysteriously a bit longer than it usually is. But then again, this is the same idiot who will tell you, oh, I'm going to be gone for about 10 minutes. I'll be right back. 10 minutes turns into like 25. So there's that too.
But usually people end up having stuff to talk about. Ash says AEW used to have picture-in-picture for the ads. Now on Max, the ads just play and you see no wrestling and people are now upset because of it. So let me get this straight.
No, let's get this straight. You paying for fucking to skip ads is probably not going to help you. So great. Now, you know, Kat can squeeze out an extra side or whatever on her next DoorDash. Good for her.
They went from regular TV to Max and on-demand service, and when they went to Max, they cut content out. That's genius. Make people pay for your TV show, but then cut content out and don't deliver the same product.
You mean like how you had people pay you on the front end for fucking DSP Tries It? You had them pay you during the DSP Tries It and not actually deliver on the particular item they were supposed to get for DSP Tries It? The Krabby Patty meal being just one of the many? You mean like that? You mean it's called a bait and switch? It's called business? You mean like that, Phil? Okay.
That's genius level stuff right there. The Netflix and Phil show. Phil reviews all Netflix content. Yes. Now, the thing is, I don't have a lot of time. You know, I'll have time to watch Raw. I
don't have a lot of time. Oh, well, I got time to watch Raw, but I don't have time to spend. I don't have time to spend with my wife though. I do have time to watch wrestling, so I can go ahead and spend even more time with another man. Okay, gotcha, Phil.
Time to watch.
Who's not his friend, by the way. I want to make that clear because Phil doesn't have time for friends. Who's not his friend, by the way, which is weird because PPP's friend, Andy Worski, is DSP's gaming soulmate. Don't try to figure it out. It's just too much to decipher.
You know, if there's a pay-per-view event, but like I said, I don't want a wrestling commentary show to become so demanding on my life that I have to sit here watching 10 wrestling shows a week.
You mean the life that you don't have and the supposed shows that you watch with your wife? It's been proven through this broadcast that you pretty much watch everything on your phone. Make that make sense. I'll wait.
All right. Same thing. Like, oh, we review this, we review that. I mean, I would, but it's like, you know, no views. No one really cared. When I was doing reviews in 2023, videos were getting like 1,000 views, 2,000 views. I was making like $5. Like, so let me pump out all this content instead of the content that makes me money.
But the content wasn't making you money, hence the reason why you were willing to try the reaction shit. You weren't making enough money doing what you were doing, hence the reason why you tried to do the reaction. And then you went back to failing. And then you failed at that, went back to the old shit, and then try to go ahead and cite the audience for new shit you could try to hopefully squeeze more money out of them. Oh, okay, whatever. Whatever.
And people watch, let me do this other content instead. It doesn't really make much sense, you know? So, you know, I'm into it. I'll do the wrestling show. I think it's an interesting idea, and it might actually get some traction, but I don't just want to sit around reviewing stuff constantly when I could be on stream doing stuff that you guys actually want to see.
Makes you question his love for gaming, ladies and gentlemen. It really makes you question.
I find it odd that, like, that WWE, they had WWE Network, right? And literally all the content was there, albeit delayed. Like, you couldn't see Raw and SmackDown for like a week, but it was still all there. And then they decided after having...
I don't remember that being true. There was a week delay on Raw and SmackDown. That doesn't even sound right. He may be just exaggerating, but I don't know. That doesn't even sound right.
Heavily pushing it for like, what was it, like 5 years? They just decided they wanted to get rid of it. And they did. And then they ended up selling it to other places. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was so weird because I thought that would be it. Like, they'd want to do that forever. They'd want to do their own network that's on demand or whatever. And then they just gave up on it.
I mean, if you can license your product out to other people who will pay you crazy money for it, why wouldn't you? on top of the TKO fucking merger. So there's that. You know, whatever. Let me stop.
Because I had it, and I canceled it, and then they canceled the whole network anyway.
So then, what value did it really have, or why did you think it was going to succeed if you didn't like it or weren't using it? That seems strange. Matter of fact, when did you cancel it? Because didn't you claim WWE Network on your fucking bankruptcy? Well, more bacon to cut up another day, I suppose.
It's so weird. Because, like, right now, if I wanted to watch SmackDown, how would I even do it? What is SmackDown on? Will I play games in the future? Absolutely not. I'm done with games. Games are the past. Sitting here gabbing with you guys about what's on Netflix is the... It's... SmackDown is on USA? It is?
Sooner or later, he's going to give up gaming. Sooner than later. As soon as he can find something that will pay him and that is consistent, he's going to give up gaming. Because let's be honest, this whole worst gamer, one of the worst gamers, I should say, on the internet thing is been eating at him for a number of years. And the games are even as watered down and as dumbed down as some of the mainstream games are, he's still failing at it. So what's that say about him? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the only reason why he's committing to trying something new and hoping that it takes off, because he's ready to give up on gaming because he has nothing to offer it. He never did, to be honest with you. He had nothing, and it has very little to offer him, if anything.
It's so confused. SmackDown's been on USA for a while now. Oh, I've never seen it on USA. I didn't even know. Huh. Yeah, I've heard that outside of the US, if you have Netflix, you can literally watch all the WWE content. Like, why the fuck don't they just do that everywhere? Phase out all gaming. There you go. Phase out all games are canceled from now on.
You know, for someone who says he watches television or he watches movies or whatever he does with his wife, for someone who's on Twitter as often as he is, he really doesn't know shit about shit. I mean, fucking A, bruh. He knows nothing about nothing. That's just kind of scary. It's kind of scary. Which kind of explains why he doesn't leave his house. Fuck all that bullshit about leaving his house once a week. I don't even think he does that anymore. I think if they have to get gas, he just has Cat do it. But I don't think they go anywhere anymore. I mean, except for like twirls and curls or whatever. But what is that? Once every 6 weeks? Once every 2 months? Whatever the fuck that is?
No more video games. They're grossly...
Actually, real talk, I'm surprised he hasn't just bought a pair of clippers and just have Cat cut his hair. I'm really surprised it's not a thing.
Overrated. I'm 42 years old. What am I doing sitting around playing games all day? What kind of a loser am I, right? Why don't I just sit here brushing My Little Ponies and, you know... The mic is cutting out. The mic is literally right in front of my face. So if the mic is cutting out, I can't really do much about it at this point. I don't care.
Can't do anything about it. I don't care. So you spent, let's run through the tally. So what? You spent $250, $300 for the mic. You spent $100 for the boom arm or whatever the fuck that was. You had the that other piece that he just bought recently for another $20, whatever the fuck it was. So you purchased all that bullshit and you're too lazy or too stupid or both to go into the settings, not adjusted OBS, excuse me, but for the mic itself and actually mess around with the settings until you can find what works and what don't. And this is coming from someone who has bad audio himself. And you can't even take the time to do any of that shit to fix it, but you threw all the money at it and thought it was worthwhile, which, yet again, ladies and gentlemen, goes to the idea that if it can't function out of the box day one, if it gives him the facade, if it gives him the visual, if it presents him in such a way to make him look like he's professional, he'll take that over anything else. Or until someone decides to handhold him through it, whichever comes first. Yikes, bro. Yikes. If you're not willing to commit to your own craft, how can you really expect people to commit to how can you expect people to commit to you? Now, granted, he surrounds himself with dents, so that's kind of like a built-in problem / solution. But how would he expect anybody with common sense to do so? Makes you think.
I mean, I'm being honest now. Like, no, I've literally positioned the mic directly in front of me. I don't know how else I could make it work. It's a name brand mic. It's the most high-end name brand shit. Like,
And it's not the most high-end name brand. It's well-known, and I'm told it's worth its value. But it's not the most expensive thing, though. For sure. Matter of fact, didn't he say initially that it wasn't the most expensive mic out there? I know for sure it's not. Whether he said it or not, I can't really say. But I know for sure it's not.
I don't care.
There you go.
They can't till their deal with NBC Universal ends in 2026, which people think it will be all going to Netflix then. Oh, I see. Okay. I can make a killing as a brony creator. Oh, there you go. Who's your favorite My Little Pony? Super Stardust Twinkle Toes or whatever, right? Yes.
That's funny. He said yes, but he forgot the fucking fake laugh before that. That's weird. He usually doesn't fuck that up.
Lady Charisma, I have no idea. Lady Charisma is asking if this wrestling show goes well, will I do WWE 2K25 this year? I don't. I'm not even thinking about that at this point. Ash says, Phil and I will now watch Netflix shows every night till 5 a.m., but behind a newly launched Patreon paywall. There you go.
Nah, think about it. Even though he's saying it as a joke, I wonder, would DSP reach out to Ashton through Discord or through, I guess it'd be through Discord, to be honest with you. And would they talk through the actual, through the show itself? Like, would they do a reaction amongst each other, if you will? And then, so they're on the same page once they actually do the show themselves. That might be me overthinking it, though.
Lady Charisma is asking if this wrestling show goes well, will I do WWE 2K25 this year? I don't. I'm not even thinking about that at this point. Ash says, Phil and I will now watch Netflix shows every night till 5 a.m., but behind a newly launched Patreon paywall. There you go.
They wouldn't be the first one to do that. So, that is it is an option.
Will our show be weekly? Whoa. Play. The idea is that we're going to cover Monday Night Raw every week, and then if they have a big, like a pay-per-view event or whatever, that we'd be covering that too. And then, and then we'll see. Like, I had no clue that AEW was on Max. I learned that literally this morning. So, maybe I'll watch, maybe every once in a while we'll watch some AEW, but I'm not going to commit to watch that every week. I've heard it's bad. Everyone says it sucks now, which is funny. When AEW started, everyone said it was better than WWE, but that was like years ago. Ashton says, we're all going to WrestleMania in Vegas, brother. But together we need 200K from you guys to get it off the ground. Support generously. That's
actually kind of hilarious because a pay pig, actually a few of them, but a pay pig actually paid for Ashton, Warski, and there was like 2 other pay pigs there too, to actually go to Vegas. They paid, in that one particular pay pig paid for the hotel room. He pretty much paid for everything, if I remember correctly. He literally copped for the whole trip. I think they said he threw down 20,000, was it? Must have been like 20 grand. It might have been 20 plus grand, to be honest with you. It's that infamous trip where everybody fucking keeps hyper fixating on the black hookers when no one is really paying attention to the fact that supposedly Andy had to help a virgin move his hips to fuck this fucking hooker, let alone the fact that supposedly PPP was in the corner cucking it out while these dudes were fucking these chicks. Whatever. It is what it is. It's just focus on the black hookers, bruh. Like hookers don't come in all fucking shapes, sizes, and colors.
Only a very reasonable $200,000 for the WrestleMania trip. Yes. Oh, I believe that. When I went to WrestleMania over a decade ago, it was 2013. It was either 2012 or 2013. I don't know how. I still get the years confused, but. So I got the seats that were near ringside, not exactly at ringside, but the one section back from ringside. We're basically like, for example, when the Shield came in, they walked literally right by us in the aisle. We were like, holy shit, that was cool. Okay. So they were ground level, ring level, but they weren't exactly ringside. They were like a couple, sections back. Those were nearly $2,000 each. And that was over a decade ago. So now with inflation and everything, I'm sure the tickets are like ridiculously over the top expensive. AEW, in my opinion, AEW.
I mean, it was WrestleMania though, so I could kind of see how the tickets would be that expensive. So
has better wrestling, but not so much story. WWE is the opposite most of the time. It's not really bad, just different. I'm glad that there are options for the wrestlers. Competition is always good. When you only have one dominating force, then there tends to not be an effort to improve.
That's funny because remember when he was bitching and complaining when the vloggers jumped into the gaming sphere back in the day and the bar got raised and he said, this is bullshit. I should be able to go ahead and turn on my television, turn on my camera, put out gameplay, and that's it. They're the ones with all the fancy editing and all this bullshit that I didn't have and I didn't know and yada, yada, yada. It wasn't supposed to be like this. But now he's sitting there saying that there should be competition and it's good for the overall brand itself or for the overall concept of business, if you will. But it wasn't okay when people were doing it on YouTube. When he was he was never really a big fish in a fucking, well, I guess you could say he was a big guppy in a fucking puddle. Not even a pond, in a puddle and shit before he accidentally got splashed into the puddle that was closest to him. Whatever. It's the hypocrisy of it all. It's fucking crazy, man.
But instead it kind of gets very stagnant. So I as well am happy that there is competition. But again, I haven't really seen the product, so I can't really speak to it to know if it's any good or not. Maybe it is bad, maybe it's good. I don't know. Okay, let's see if this works. Hopefully it does.
Interesting stuff. I don't know how he would even think that he would be a determining factor on what's good and what isn't. That in itself kind of kills me. But that is what that is. All right, ladies and gentlemen. There we go on that, man. That was pretty fucking silly. I have to be honest with you. That was pretty silly. He's completely and utterly unprepared for what's about to come out of all that. Like, he's literally wasting people's time, including his own. But semantics. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I will, if anything actually comes out of any of that, I'll see what's what. But we'll see what happens over the next couple days leading up till Tuesday. And I should have another video out for that if he says anything worthwhile. Or if not, I'll just combo all of that into whatever the Tuesday video is after whatever happens with that Tuesday shit. We'll see what's what. But I don't have too many high hopes. Like, Ashton's going to be doing a whole lot of carrying. He's going to have to carry his weight plus Phil's weight plus Phil's expectations. So, and then I don't have any faith in Phil's technical ability on how this shit's going to get presented. Just silly stuff, man. Silly stuff. Either which way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys for the next one, whenever that may be, hopefully sooner than later. This has been the Snort Report. It's brought to you by DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes. A GTG Network and Productions. Big ups to all of you. Big ups to Chio18. Big ups to everybody. And, take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys soon. I will see you guys soon. Holy shit. Hold on a second. Before we get into buggy mechanics. Alright, we're good. Later, people.
My shoes cause I'm barefoot, boss taking the toke, God's making the joke with a Mickey Mantle rookie card, close pinned in my spoke. I'm partying with the dead like Dia de los Muertos. People look at me funny cause I'm a scarecrow, but I don't care, bro, I'm snacking on apricots. I need my space like an astronaut. I'm in the sun chasing rum with the juice of a plum, in a singing mood, the drinking booze like a bomb. Someone stole my red bike, so I bought a blue one. I was sad, but fuck it, I got a new one.